again. With April being Autism Awareness Month, I could not let the month go by without trying to find someone with some type of experience, some relationship to autism and the spectrum before the month got out. And amazingly, my guest today, she came through. And I was so glad the month almost got away without being able to highlight it. But even if it did, we were going to shoot for the next month or the next month. But today I have with me Janet Peters, and she's a mom of one, and her daughter is on the spectrum. Hi, Janet. How are you?
You're fine. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So how old was your daughter when you realized or when she was diagnosed as being on the spectrum?
She was 5.
5.
She was 5.
And it was just
And
something you noticed, or maybe the doctor? How did
it started when she was in the school. They say she was making noises and strange noises and the flap movements and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But they were they went do the IP, they diagnosed with autism. But I said, let me go follow suit behind them. So I went to, do evaluation on her. And this one she got diagnosed with, they call it progressive developmental disorder. But she is on the spectrum and she got ADHD on top of that too. And she got both of them things and ODD. So she got all them 3 things in a combination of things. So this when I find out that she's got diagnosed, and at the beginning I was in denial. I don't know, every parent go through this, but I was in denial until I started, notice that I need, educate myself, and that I really didn't find no support group till hello, Sarah. Maybe she was 10, 11.
Oh, wow.
10, 11. So I really, didn't really give a support group a chance, because I heard of these support groups before, but I think she was 10, 11. This when I, started, picking up on my support groups and stuff like that, because there is support groups that, with kids on the spectrums and the mommies who understand this stuff. So there is support groups out there. So yeah, she was 5.
Okay. Prior to your daughter, did you have any understanding or knowledge of autism and or what that meant?
No, I did not. Absolutely not.
So you basically had to figure it out as you went through.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And so how has that journey been for you?
It was rough at the beginning. Then, once I got here, I started, finding support groups. Like one support group here, Autism Society of Tidewater. There's one group, and there's different type of groups I am at Facebook. It's a place parents can go to vent without being judged, and they understand without being judged. And that's the little things, like my daughter likes stuffed animals for comfort. So they understand that. Or she still play with toys. So only they will understand that. They won't understand it with her without her being judged. Or she's 15 years old. She's too big to be playing with toys. She's still into toys. She still watch Paw Patrol and all that stuff. And that's the only place I feel safe to, to mention something like that. If I do that in the whole Facebook world, I don't think they really understand something like that.
Wow. And so how has your family been? Did they have trouble understanding as well what being on the spectrum meant?
Well, my family's in Texas, so she do not get to see my family that much. It's been a while, but I don't think they quite get it. Because when you kids with autism, you start treating them different. Like they deaf or something, something, or you start talking loud or something like that.
Oh,
But that's not the issue. And then people say autism is a mental illness. No, it's not. They got it mixed up. They need to
right.
educate themselves. I see this a lot, and I saw it a lot. Just how you found me on the brighter side with Matthew Rushin. They were saying that he had mental illness. No, he doesn't. He has a disability. It's a difference. So mental illness is not no autism. She doesn't have that.
Right,
So
exactly.
people get confused and don't sit down to at least go and you Google autism. It's all over on the internet, or go read up on it before you start making statements like that. You got
Right.
to think about what you post and stuff like that, and the parents see that stuff. People don't think about that.
No, they don't. So you mentioned Matthew Rushin, and I was introduced to his story through your post. I hadn't heard anything about it, and I'm right here in the area. I'm in Chesapeake, and had not heard about it. But for those of you that are listening, um, this is a young man who is on the spectrum and had an incident where he was in a car accident. And correct me if I get any of the specifics wrong, but he was in a car accident and ended up being arrested. And it took his family a pretty long time to get him out of jail because I guess it was the public defender didn't tell him. It was like everybody was just kind of saying, well, just plead guilty, just do this, and you're gonna have to do this, and not educating him or even his family on what was really happening. And it seemed like a nightmare to me. It's bad enough that being a person of color and having to be on pins and needles around law enforcement, and then to say that you have a child that's on the spectrum, and how are they going to be perceived by the police should
Mm.
they be stopped? Because there are certain things, I mean, and because the spectrum is so broad that no two people on the spectrum, if you ask me, are alike.
Mm.
There may be similarities, but to say that a
Different.
police officer is going to know and understand it, he would almost have to have a child on the spectrum as well.
Mm.
And so how did that story affect you? How did you feel about that?
I felt like that was horrible what happened to him, and I was bleeding for the mother, but she kept on fighting. Uh, she fight for her child, and she's still fighting because I think at this point, I don't want to get the story wrong, but the governor here in Virginia pardoned him, but he can't drive or nothing like that. What else? Um, I
And he
don't want to
was
get the
in
story. I know
college.
he can't drive no more because of
Wow.
it. But where you can post the stuff there. Then I'm just reading some of the comments that the people saying about him, that he should not be able to drive no more. He shouldn't have been driving in the first place. And I'm like, don't you know she might be reading this stuff? And you do not put your you put your if you say it was you and your child, and you read these comments, people just don't think about that. I said, this is horrible. That is plain right horrible. Some of these people saying these things. And do y'all have kids or grandkids or something like that? And if
Something.
your child do something like that, they not on the spectrum, they normal. And you turn around, you reading some of this stuff. She probably did read.
Hmm.
That's hurtful. They'll be hurtful to me.
Definitely.
So like they ain't had no type of understanding. I'm reading that autism is a mental illness. No, it's not. I'm just shaking my whole entire head on some of these comments. And it made me mad. It made me mad. Instead of, before you start typing stuff out, take a pause. Let me go research what autism is.
Right.
And you find a whole slew of information. Just make sure you're reading the right stuff. Wikipedia is not a reliable source, so but just make sure you write at least learn about it.
Right, exactly.
And my feeling is on it, you got other parents say who don't have kids on the spectrum. They understand. No, you don't. Unless you've been in that parent's shoes. Especially when I got a child, you don't even got no friends. She barely got friends. The ones in school and a couple good friends she have, but she don't barely have friends.
Now, did you find it difficult to get whatever accommodations? I noticed in the autism Facebook group, there were a lot of parents that were asking about, like, where did you guys go to get this person and that person? And, was that a difficult thing to do?
Yeah, it's a lot of difficulty for parents of getting the right type of accommodations for their kids, especially in school. That's the number one concerns of school. They always say it's the best interest of your child. We're looking out for your child. No, they don't. That's a lie.
Oh.
That's a lie. Basically, it's a lie. The stuff I went through with Sarah, that is totally a lie. What kind of accommodations? But I hired me an advocate.
Oh,
In the
wow.
process,
Okay.
I got me an advocate. I went on here and hired me an advocate, and she's a beast. She is a beast. She's helping me out with some things. Did I feel something? One of my 99%, when I feel something ain't right, I say, let me go here, reach out to the advocate. So I had to take my finances, because this stuff costs, put her first. And, so we get this straightened out. We still in the process of getting stuff straightened out, but it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. So I tell any parent, go find you an advocate who know the IEP process and the bill process. Go find you someone, or you go educate yourself the best you can. Two ways you can do that. It's a lot of patience with that, trying to learn that stuff. Not a knowledge you got to do, but I'm learning too. I'm still learning too.
Right.
But I'm learning as I go along still, so I don't know everything.
I can imagine that it's a constant learning process, because as your child gets older, then maybe the things that you needed when they were little have changed by the time they get to be older. And so now, yet there's still more things to figure out along the line. Wow.
Yes.
Now, what words do you have for parents who have children that are not on the spectrum, or even people who don't have children, but that may come in contact with children who are on the spectrum? I know, for one, educating themselves, that's major.
I'm going to say, to answer that question, educate yourself, support, try to do some type of understanding, sympathy. Like I said, be careful what you say or write and put it on Facebook, because that parent going to see that stuff,
Right.
especially with social media.
True.
You don't know until or just educate yourself. I'm gonna say the biggest thing is educate yourself, read up on it. I'm not saying spend hours and days on it, but at least read up on some of the stuff, because to tell it's a child, is on the spectrum or not, you can pick up some cues. But
Right.
have some type of, just be careful what you say. Because that parent is most likely or will run across that post and see something like that. And not even that parent, but another parent. And like I said, I'm reading this stuff they saying by him. My heart believe for the mother. I cannot believe they saying some of this stuff. And like they not even thinking right now. And that's not the mother, him too. He got feelings too. And another thing I say, people with autism have feelings too, whether they're verbal or non-verbal. They do have feelings.
Hmm.
So somebody say something about my child, she have feelings.
Right.
Just because she got autism don't mean her feelings went away. So yes, they have feelings. This what the main point I'm gonna take away from that. They do have feelings.
Right.
So yeah, this advice I give for people who ain't got no kids on a spectrum or don't have no kids at all, have some understanding and sympathy.
And I appreciate you
Mhm.
for using your voice to help educate people by way of the groups that you participate in, as well as coming to share your information on our show.
Yes.
So thank you so much.